Please remember to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave any content suggestions in the comments section. The belief that the moon landing was fake, often referred to as moon landing conspiracy theories, emerged shortly after the Apollo 11 mission in 1969 and has persisted for decades. Proponents of these theories argue that NASA faked the moon landings for various reasons. Here are the main arguments used by conspiracy theorists. Argument: shadows in the lunar photos fall in different directions, which suggests multiple light sources were used. Some claim this indicates the photos were taken on Earth under artificial lighting, not on the moon. Counterpoint: the moon's uneven surface causes shadows to appear at different angles, and the sun's low angle at the lunar surface can create unusual shadow patterns. Argument: the photos from the moon do not show stars in the sky, which some believe is proof that the photos were taken on Earth with a darkened backdrop. Counterpoint: the moon's surface is brightly lit by the sun, and the exposure settings of the cameras used were not sensitive enough to capture the faint light from stars. Argument: the American flag planted on the moon appears to ripple, which critics argue would be impossible in the vacuum of space, where there is no air to cause movement. Counterpoint: the flag was not waving, but rather appeared to ripple because of the way it was handled and the way the flag's fabric interacted with the poles when it was set up. The flag had a horizontal bar across the top to keep it extended, which also gave it a stiff appearance. Some people believe there should be a visible blast crater under the lunar module caused by the thrust of its descent engine when landing on the moon. However, the lunar module's descent engine used a very low thrust, and the surface of the moon is covered with fine dust, which wouldn't form a large visible crater. Some claim that the quality of the photos and video footage from the moon is too high for the technology of the 1960s, leading to suspicions that they were staged, but the photos were taken with high-quality film cameras, and the video footage was transmitted using analog technology. The Van Allen radiation belts are regions of intense radiation surrounding Earth, and conspiracy theorists argue that astronauts would have been killed by this radiation if they traveled through the belts on their way to the moon. Yet, the Apollo spacecraft took a trajectory through the thinnest parts of the Van Allen belts, and the astronauts were exposed to only a small amount of radiation, which was not harmful. Some claim that the moon rocks brought back by the Apollo missions are either not from the moon or were fabricated by NASA. However, the moon rocks have been extensively studied by scientists around the world. The idea that the United States faked the moon landings as part of the Cold War to outdo the Soviet Union and win the space race is a common conspiracy theory. Critics argue that it was easier to fake the landings than to actually send humans to the moon. Some believe that the lunar module was never left on the moon and was simply fabricated for the Apollo missions. Conspiracy theorists claim it disappeared after the mission. Some people point to the astronauts' behavior during interviews, press conferences, or their general conduct during the mission as strange or unnatural, suggesting they were hiding the truth about the landings. But astronauts in the 1960s and 1970s were under intense scrutiny and stress, with many experiencing post-mission psychological effects. The appearance of the flag moving when it was planted on the moon is often cited as evidence that there was wind, which shouldn't be possible in the vacuum of space. However, the flag moved as a result of the astronauts handling it and setting it up. Some skeptics argue that the technology available in the 1960s wasn't advanced enough to land humans on the moon and return them safely to Earth. However, the Apollo missions were the culmination of years of research and development. A common conspiracy theory claims that famed director Stanley Kubrick, known for his groundbreaking work in film technology, was involved in faking the moon landings using Hollywood sets. But there is no evidence to support that Kubrick or any film studio was involved. Some suggest the United States staged the moon landings to avoid a disastrous failure during the Cold War, especially after the Soviet Union had succeeded in sending the first human-made satellite, Sputnik, into space. Yet the moon landings were a global event, with thousands of people involved in their execution. Some conspiracy theorists point to photos from the Apollo 12 mission, claiming that the photographs of the lunar surface look too much like desert landscapes found on Earth, suggesting they were taken on Earth, not the moon. The appearance of the moon's surface can appear similar to desert landscapes because both environments are rocky and barren. The photographic evidence and data are consistent with the moon's actual geology. While these arguments are often presented by conspiracy theorists, the overwhelming evidence, from photographs and rock samples to scientific experiments and lunar exploration by subsequent missions, strongly supports the conclusion that the moon landings did indeed occur.